Welcome back to In the Box. I'm Sandy Plashkis. If you haven't already, follow us on Instagram at OwnersBox and head down below to like, comment, and subscribe to let YouTube know that we are fire.
Hello, we are back. I'm Rocher, and I'm here with
Avery.
Shen. Shen goes around town. We're here to talk about all the NFL games that happened this weekend. We were in the office working hard.
Always.
Twitter account was on fire yesterday.
Yep.
We always love the support. Always comment at us. We'll respond.
Yeah. Talk shit to Jer about the Bills.
Yeah, talk shit to me all you want, but I'm going to talk shit right back. That's just how I work. So we'll be breaking down all the games today, starting with the Bills. Of course they won. Quarter zips on today.
Looks good.
Got it on sale at Marshall's, $10. Can't go wrong with that, right?
Nope.
So the Bills won 27-17. They look good.
Yes.
I thought they looked strong. John Brown had a good game. Diggs, first game with the Bills. I took the over 3.5 receptions. That was a lock.
Yeah, slammed it.
Remember, we were in the car. I was in the car. I looked at Ave. I said, over 3.5 receptions. No way in hell he gets below that in his first game.
You got me. You got me on it.
And Avery would have bet the game.
But I have no money.
Has no money. So,
so I can't do anything.
Imaginary win for Ave.
Yeah, in my head, I won.
Yeah. So once he gets the money, he's going to get those locks.
Yeah, I'm going to be rich as fuck.
Yeah. So Diggs had 8 receptions for 86 yards. He looked good. I mean, John Brown was kind of like a guy who he was technically wide receiver 1 last year, and he just had a great game too. And I think having Diggs actually helps John Brown because he doesn't get the best corners anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it frees up John Brown. Josh Allen, strong game. I don't know what's with him and Butterfingers, but
it's demoralizing watching him fumble all the time, and it's just hilarious fumbles every time. It's just not normal.
Yeah.
He just flings the ball across the field.
I feel like Josh Allen's just a great guy, though.
Yeah,
like
like
he would be the one who would just chirp himself about those fumbles.
Yeah, like I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and the Bills love him. I mean, everyone, like the fan base loves him. The players love him. They've been speaking that they want to win for that guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm just pretty biased, but that's just me. On the Jets side, they look terrible.
So bad.
I mean, I don't even know why they still stick with that coach.
Adam Gase.
Yeah.
Crazy eyes.
Le'Veon Bell was bad.
Hurt,
yes. 6 carries for 14 yards.
Bad.
Last time I checked that shit. But, so I got an interesting stat. So I'm a big Diggs guy.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have a great year. I have said this, that I think he's going to finish in the top 10 for receivers. I don't think that's crazy. I think saying top 5 is crazy.
Top 5, crazy town.
I think
top 10.
Yeah. 8, 9, 10. I think he
got
could.
a shot.
Yeah, it's out there. I mean, last year he had 6.3 targets a game was his average. Obviously, he was in an interesting offense with the Vikings where they had 2 wide receiver 1s on the team, but they weren't a passing team.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. That's true.
That's exactly what it was. So Diggs was obviously pissed off that he was playing on that team. I mean, he had 17.9 yards per catch, which is insanely high. She comes to the Bills. Josh Allen's a long ball thrower. I think it's going to work perfect. I mean, Diggs only trailed Michael Thomas in receiving yards per team passing attempts.
That's pretty good.
That's good. That's number 2. So I think Diggs is going to have a good game, good game. How about you?
Yeah, I think only up from here. He's going to be in an offense where he's going to get the ball a lot. Mm-hmm. They're going to trust him to get the ball a lot. They're going to put it in his hands, and I think he's going to be successful.
Yeah. Okay. Now we got Sandy's Packers. Now, I'm just going to warn you, that guy was running around the office screaming his head off.
Yeah, crazy.
I got to admit, those Packers played well. Killed the Vikings, 43-34. The score looks a little closer, but the game was a blowout.
Yeah, blowout. Couple touchdowns to Thielen at the end of the game there from Kirk. So made it look good, but it was a blowout.
Yeah. And, I hate to say this, but a guy I didn't have my top 5, Davonte Adams, had a great game. I'll give respect where respect's due, and he had a great game. I mean, he was the top receiver on our platform. 14 receptions, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, 41 fantasy points. I mean, that's a hell of a game.
Unbelievable.
And then you had Rodgers. Rodgers looks good.
MVP form, some might say.
Sandy did say that on the first first podcast or second podcast
That's
of
all
the
right.
year.
We don't need to say that.
I mean, I don't want him to win MVP because then Sandy's going to be running around the office talking shit to everyone. But he had 364 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was 32 for 44, 42 fantasy points. He was the top performing quarterback yesterday. So he looked good. I mean, Dalvin Cook had a decent game. 12 carries, 50 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a touchdown. He's going to get a lot of touchdowns.
He's just gonna eat up those yards near the goal line, and he'll be their red zone guy.
Yeah, so big body, and I think it'll be good. What do you think of the Vikings? I thought they looked
Weak on defense, pretty bad on defense.
Yeah.
Their offense just still is the same. Not exciting. They're gonna rely on Dalvin a lot. And I think that team total of 9 wins is going to go under.
Yeah, I think so too. I didn't think they're as good as last year. Obviously, losing Diggs, but I mean, I don't think Diggs is gonna would have a big impact. I just don't think their defense is as good this year.
I'd agree.
So now we go to Washington. Pull off the upset against the Eagles with 27 unanswered points. They win 27-17. Washington doesn't look like a bad team. I mean, the Eagles look bad. They were missing some key players, but Washington, I like how they spread the ball around. I mean, their top receiver only had 5 receptions. I mean, their running backs, I'm pretty sure they utilize 4
running backs.
Yeah, 4 running backs. And then the Eagles, just who disappointed you the most on the Eagles?
I don't know if it was one person. I just don't think Carson got any help from the offensive line to be able to make plays. They didn't play Deshaun Jackson that much.
Yeah.
Guy who's electric in that offense they've seen for years. Things like that. Boston Scott wasn't good.
Yeah.
I know you're not too happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, he had 9 carries for 35 yards. I mean, he did have a good game.
He's not supposed to be their first string running back though. So if you can't get mad at a guy for that. People are thinking he's gonna get a ton more carries, which he did, and that always doesn't correlate to yards, which we saw.
I think he was a little overvalued because of what he did last year in the game he started against the Giants. So I think he was overvalued this week. I mean, he's not an RB1. That's the truth of it. He's an RB2. So I was disappointed in Boston Scott. I thought I
like that defensive line though. Washington.
Yeah, they look.
Chase Young looked great. Defense rookie of the year possibly. But if we're just taking that from game 1, they look really good. Kerrigan again, fumble recovery.
Yeah,
they could be good this year.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to the playoffs, but they looked fun to watch.
Yeah, I think the Washington will not embarrass themselves this year.
No.
So that's a good sign. Now we got the Ravens and Browns. Our very own Sandy made possibly one of the worst takes ever. Like, you can't say you have a lock.
And it'd be the Browns.
Yeah. Like, you literally bet again. Like, you literally say you're going to do something too. That's why he's not on the podcast. He's suspended.
1 game.
Yeah. So, kudos for him for actually going through with that. But you can't say that. Like, it has to be.
If you say to cover +9 and they lose by 32, you're just not even close. You're on the wrong side of that one for sure.
Yeah. So the clip is out of what he said. If you missed it,
go watch it.
Go check it out.
Twitter.
And we're going to be posting on Instagram, so you can check that out. But it was a bad take.
Freezing cold.
Yeah, freezing cold take. So we were kind of embarrassed because we were beside him when he took that. So it's kind of like falls on us too, because we didn't call him out for it.
No,
call him
we
out on it.
didn't.
Yeah. So technically a little bit falls on us on there for not calling him out on it, but just bad. So Lamar was back to form, 20 for 25, 275 passing yards, 45 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's just easy work for that guy.
Yeah, looked great. He picked up right where he left off. A couple deep balls too. Hollywood, Willie Snead looked good. Yeah. Mark Andrews with a great touchdown catch.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about J.K. Dobbins. Love that guy. He's great for Ohio State last year. 2nd-round pick this year. He's just adding another dynamic to that offense. Mark Ingram's going to be a big bruiser.
Yeah.
Run up the middle. And I think Dobbins will be able to catch some balls out of the backfield, and he'll be really good running outside and use a little bit of that speed.
Do you think Dobbins' workload increases as the weeks go on, or do you think they keep up with that kind of even workload between Ingram and Dobbins?
I think kind of even. Obviously, more experience week by week. He'll get better. But I think that's what makes their rushing offense so potent, so good, that they have so many different options. You're not just game planning for one type of run every time. You got multiple guys that are doing different things.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they look better than last year. I mean, adding Dobbins is massive to that team. He looked good. He fits right into their offense. He has good receiving skills as well, so that's perfect for them. I think the Browns look like the old Browns.
They're lost.
I mean, Odell had 3 receptions for 22 yards. Kareem Hunt had more carries than Chubb. So what do you think? Like, do you think Chubb owners should be worried?
No, I think it's only week 1. It was a blowout. Can't look too into that. They're just trying to get the ball. I could be worried because I think Kareem Hunt's really good. I saw him with the Chiefs, obviously. I know what he can do out of the backfield. Really good ball catcher.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb, I don't think he is as good catching the ball. But if that offense is only going to put up 6 points, who cares who they put back there?
Yeah. I mean, you see fantasy owners, they signed Kareem Hunt to the contract, and they were even thinking before this game even started. They were like, what's this contract? You know, like people are already talking about Kareem Hunt taking over for Chubb. But I don't think fantasy owners should be worried. I mean, Chubb had himself a great year last year. Kareem Hunt is more of going to be, I wouldn't call him an RB2. He is an RB2 right now, but because he has skills of an RB1. But he has better receiving skills than Chubb, so he can be utilized in different situations.
Yeah, like a 1A, 1B there. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with both. So I think fantasy owners need to relax and just trust in Chubb.
Yeah.
So next game, we got Jaguars Colts, big upset. Jaguars pulled it off 27-20.
Tough one for me. Lock, the favorite lock of the week, loses. First one ever. Tough pick.
So Avery went 2 for 3 on his picks. Sandy went 2 for 3. Devin went 1 for 3. And myself, winner of week 1, I went 3-0.
Not a big deal.
I mean, no surprise there.
Oh, my goodness.
No, I felt good yesterday. Went 6-0 on the day.
Just
I had a good
printing
day.
cash.
Just print, yeah. If I betted enough money, I'd be printing cash. But so the Jaguars looked pretty good. They didn't look terrible. I mean, Gardner Minshew had a nice line, 19 for 20. That's insane. 173 yards and 3 touchdowns. He got the job done for them.
Yeah, it just seems like a ball possession thing. They didn't, not crazy amount of yards for anyone on that offense. Yeah. He got the ball and he was able to do what he had to do to win. It was fun to watch. They're not tanking this year, that's for sure. No. Yeah, like you see here, James Robinson was their leading rusher. He only had 62 yards.
Yeah.
None of their receivers had more than 50 yards. They just won the ball possession game, and it led to a win.
So what do you think of Phillip Rivers? I mean, he had 2 interceptions. I mean, he's a guy who
does 2 interceptions about every game, it feels like.
Yeah, it seems like
in the fourth quarter, he just looks lost on the sidelines. He looks angry. It was nice to see, although he's losing. I just think he's hilarious to look at on the sideline.
Yeah, apparently he's a funny guy, but I think there's just no chance that Phillip Rivers will ever make the Super Bowl. I feel bad for the guy. He loves football so much, but I think there's no way he brings any team to the Super Bowl. I would say he's probably just below average quarterback in the league.
Yeah, at this point, I tend to agree with you.
Yeah. So Marlon Mack out for the year. Disappointing news for the Colts. Now is it clear cut that Jonathan Taylor becomes RB1 on that team?
I think it has to be. Hines had a obviously great game. Jonathan Taylor, rookie, second-round pick. He's also just going to get better.
Yeah,
I mean, all these guys, it's first ever game, no preseason games. We got to remember.
He had the rookie jitters, is what I call them. 9 carries for 22 yards. That is.
Yeah, he was pretty good receiving. I thought he was our second leading receiver in that game, but 67 yards receiving, which is something the most receptions he had in a game at Wisconsin was 3.
Wow.
So people just said, oh, like he's not a receiving back, and then he goes and doubles that in his first game in the NFL. We'll just have to see if he keeps that up.
Yeah, I think the best thing the right decision the Colts to do is to go up to Jonathan Taylor and tell him he's going to be the guy for them. He needs confidence. I mean, it's his first year in the NFL. Rookie, like look at what Edwards-Helaire did.
Yep.
I mean, he was known. They told him you're going to be the guy, and he had a great game. And I think he's going to have a great season. So I think if they do the same with Jonathan Taylor, I think he's going to play. He's going to have a massive comeback game next game.
I like that.
So the Raiders-Panthers, great game, exciting game.
Yeah, thought it was a shitbag game of the week, but turned out not to be.
Yeah.
Barn burner.
Raiders win 34-30. QBs had similar stat lines. Nothing too flashy when it's that high scoring, but both played consistent. Teddy Bridgewater looked pretty good.
He did what he does.
Mm-hmm. So Josh Jacobs was the leading running back on our system. He had 35 fantasy points, 25 carries, 93 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Do we think that he can potentially be a top 5 running back in the league?
No doubt. Mm-hmm. They're obviously giving him a chance to score at the red zone. Mm-hmm. And those touchdown points are going to obviously boost your fantasy stats for the year. It's his second year. He's shown he can do it in his rookie year. They're only just going to give him keys to the offense. They're just going to let him run. And I like that. They got Darren Waller for the red zone too. Mm-hmm. Big body. Either one of those two, but I think Josh Jacobs is going to get a lot of play near the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their wide receiver core, and they got the rookie Ruggs, who had a good game, but they don't have many threats up there. So I think he's going to be utilized a lot in the receiving game now. I mean, he had 4 receptions yesterday for 47 yards, but I don't know if you watched him much in college. He was with Alabama, right?
Yeah.
And did you know if he was used a lot in the receiving game?
They used everyone in the receiving game. Well, Tua with quarterback there, but he's a good catching back, I think, as well.
Okay. And obviously the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey, another stellar performance. He had 27 fantasy points, 96 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, the guy is a beast. It all. Yeah, he does everything for that team. I know you were disappointed with the play call that the Panthers made.
Yeah, we were inside 2 minutes, I believe. Matt Rule, rookie head coach. I don't know if he's calling plays. Probably not. But they had 4th and 1 maybe. Yeah. Lined up, I formation. Bridgewater hands the ball off to the fullback, which I just don't think you can do.
No, I think he was trying to surprise them, and you know what? If it pays off, he looks like a genius, but he didn't, so he's got to eat that.
Yeah.
I think it was bad, to be honest. I mean, you got the best back in the league. You got to use them.
Yeah, agreed.
So we loved that game. That was probably one of our favorite games. Most exciting, definitely.
I was on Red Zone a lot.
Yeah, was on Red Zone a lot. The Bears-Lions game. Obviously, Lions blow 4th quarter lead. It's starting to become a trend now with that team. But the Bears secure a W, a surprising W. I mean, it looked like they were out of it. They make the comeback and win. What'd you think of Mitch?
Good for him. Happy for him. He kills the Lions somehow. There's one team he owns. Didn't look good first half. Maybe that was no game reps, really. Something that you kind of expect from all the teams.
Yeah.
But with the Bears, everyone was reminded how bad they've been. So it was more panic mode for the Bears than probably most other teams. In the 4th quarter, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have a great first half, and they were already shooting out pictures of Nick Foles on the bench, saying how much they're paying him to sit on the bench. I don't know what they were thinking picking up Nick Foles, to be honest.
Well, when you get quarterbacks like Cam Newton for basically the minimum, it doesn't look smart.
No, it doesn't look smart at all.
But that's over with. You got
to just deal with it. I mean, if Nick Foles doesn't play a game this year, it's going to be terrible for them. But you know what? That's the Bears' way of doing things. They can run with that. Mm-hmm. So what's with the Lions now? They blow lead. They catch. What do you think?
DeAndre Swift, rookie, Georgia. Mm-hmm. You need to catch that ball.
Yeah.
Jeremy Roach is catching that ball at the Christ the King field for a touchdown to win the game. I guarantee it.
I mean, I've only had 1 reception in my career, but I could potentially have caught that ball, even with my small hands. But I think the way it looks like it was an easy catch, but I think we weren't there. But I think his momentum was going. He was going to fall. It was 3rd down. I'm not sure how much time was left on the clock.
inside 30 seconds, I think.
Okay. So I don't know. I don't even know if they had a timeout left. But, I mean, he was falling down. He had to make a turn while falling, and it just popped out. So
tough start to
it's a tough start to a career. I mean, he's getting roasted online.
And Detroit, kind of similar vibes as Bears fans. They just no confidence in their team. They're like, oh, shit, here we go again.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if they're going to be too much better this year. No Kenny Golladay was tough. I know you were disappointed with Marvin Jones.
I thought, Danny Amendola led the team. He had 5 receptions for 81 yards. I thought Marvin Jones was, I thought he was just going to be the clear-cut wide receiver 1 that game, and he just was not. So I'm worried for him when Golladay comes back. Maybe it was because they had the top cornerback on him. Maybe that's why he was getting locked down, but, he had 4 receptions. When Golladay comes back, I'm kind of worried about how many touches he's going to get because, he's supposed to be a good wide receiver 2 in the league. So that worries me. Adrian Peterson, do you think they run with him now for RB1 for the at least until he stops this pace?
I think so. He looked young out there. He looked vibrant. He was trucking people like he used to, running angry.
Yeah.
It was fun to see.
So why did Washington cut him? Like, they ran with 4 backs. I don't really understand that move, but, good for Adrian Peterson because he would barely get any touches with that Washington team.
Yeah.
I just don't see why they would cut him. I don't see what hurts them having Peterson in the lineup, but, Peterson's probably loves this. Now he's the starter in Detroit. I didn't think he was going to be the starter, but 14 carries. So for 93 yards, I think they're going to run with him next week. So we'll see how that goes. Next game, Seahawks-Falcons. Seahawks went 38-25. They blew these guys out. Falcons were just, they're called free touches where they were just throwing it all over the place to get scores. And Matt Ryan had 450 yards, if that tells you anything.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson looks like he's going to be another MVP candidate in the league.
That was probably my takeaway from all of Sunday was how good I thought Russell Wilson looked. Maybe Aaron Rodgers up there too.
Yeah.
With how impressive they were. But I just thought Russ looked great.
Yeah, he was 31 for 35, 322 yards, 4 touchdowns, 29 rushing yards. I heard that they told him that, they want him to be more aggressive throwing now. And you could tell that. Carson had 6 carries. I think Hyde had 6 carries. 7 carries. So, that's not a lot between the two. And Wilson, if he's throwing up 31 for 35, he's going to keep throwing the ball. Lockett had a good day. So did DK.
DK with the touchdown, that was big for me.
Mm-hmm.
After he had a big drop, he was getting roasted on Twitter.
Yeah.
But he came back. And I was happy for Russ. They've been talking about hashtag let Russ cook on Twitter.
Yeah.
And they let him cook, and look at what happened.
Yeah, Seahawks are been contenders for a while now, and I think they have an even better squad this year with Jamal Adams was like a hawk back there at safety.
He's a great player.
He had a great game, and they were talking about that on Twitter. Like, he's just a big asset to that team. They gave up a lot to get him. Yeah. 2 first-rounders.
I saw a tweet from one of their accounts that said, "I don't think we gave up enough first-round picks for Jamal Adams."
People were talking shit that they gave up too much, and I was one of those guys who was talking shit. But I'll put that on my shoulder.
Yeah, shove that one up your ass.
But I look like he's all over the field. That guy is a beast back there.
Yeah.
So I think watch out for Jamal Adams. I think he could be an MVP on that defense. The Falcons, it was kind of inflated stats with their wide receivers. The stats they were putting up is crazy.
3 100-yard receivers in their first game.
Yeah. So it's tough to say. Obviously Julio Jones is going to be good, but it's tough to say with those. If Ridley looked like a top-end wide receiver too, which he is projected to have a really good year.
I think he could be their wide receiver 1 this year. That's how good I think he'll be.
Yeah. So I think this game, though, isn't the game to tell if he's going to be that guy. Don't you agree?
Yeah, a little inflated there at the end. This was another one, like you said, was a blowout and a couple scores late. Made it look close. They recovered an onside kick and scored.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't like the Falcons. They lose me a lot of money usually, and until that changes and they start covering spreads, they start winning games.
Yeah,
I just can't be a Falcons guy.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Now we go to the Patriots game. They pulled out a victory, 21-11 against the Dolphins. That defense doesn't look like it's changed. I mean, I know a couple guys opted out, but they look good. I mean, Cam, what'd you think of Cam's performances?
Cam did what Cam does. Yeah. He looks healthy. Mm-hmm. He's not an accurate thrower. He never has been.
Yeah.
That still showed. He's a scary guy to tackle out in space, though. A lot of rushing attempts.
Yeah.
He has the most rushing TDs for QB in New England history, tied for already in a game. But he looks good. I think Bill's going to be able to do some stuff with that offense that he wasn't able to do with Tom, and they'll be exciting. He's a great coach. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I like Cam. I don't think the Patriots are going to be as good as last year.
No.
But mostly because of those people opting out on the defense. But I think Cam is going to play well for them, and they'll be respectful. I think they'll make the playoffs, or just miss the playoffs. But on the Dolphins side, Fitzpatrick didn't have a good game at all.
No.
3 interceptions. I mean, he's a hit or miss.
It's what he does.
Yeah, it's just who he is.
He's another guy that we know what we're getting. He's going to sling it around.
Yeah.
He's going to throw picks.
Yeah.
He's going to throw a miraculous touchdown somehow.
Yeah. Do we think that the Dolphins turn to Tua, and how early?
I think we got 4 or 5 more weeks till we get to see him. Originally, I thought maybe halfway through the year, but I think if Fitzpatrick plays like that again, why not? If the season's over by week 6, why don't you get him the reps? I think it'd be important for his development, and I think it'd be good for the team.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they'll turn to Tua soon. I mean, if they go 0-2 or 0-3, I think they got to do something, or the fan base is going to riot. Now we're going to shift towards the worst game of the night that we thought, the Chargers-Bengals game. I mean, the ending of it pretty much summarized how the game went.
Hilarious.
Chargers won 16-13. What'd you think of the field goal miss and the biggest kicker I've ever seen?
Randy Bullock, big body. Hilarious way to miss a kick. 31-yard field goal that he missed wide right by maybe 40 yards, it seemed like.
Yeah.
He pulled up lame, holding his left calf, right calf.
Yeah.
But in the post-game comments, he said his left calf pulled as he kicked. So I think he's telling a lie there a little bit. And I think, when you're in baseball and you fuck up a play in the outfield and you just look at your glove, you're like, oh shit, it was the glove's fault. Yeah. I think he just looked at his legs like that,
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even close. And I mean, you look at the replay and the kick, like him kicking it looks completely fine.
Yeah.
And then he grabs his calf after. But Joe Burrow's face too after. Like, what do you think is going through his head right there?
I think he's an Ohio guy. I think he knows the Bengals. He knows the Browns. He knows how shitty they've been. And he's like, oh, fuck, here we go again.
Yeah. He's like, so this is what I'm in for.
Yeah.
So that was a big win for the Chargers. Keenan Allen only had 4 receptions for 37 yards. Do we see this as a trend that maybe his value is going to go way down this year with Tyrod Taylor?
Maybe not way down, but I think regression for sure. It has to be. Philip Rivers would just throw the thing all over the field. If he wasn't checking down, it seemed like he was going down further down the field.
Yeah.
Tyrod's another safe ball manager, game manager type quarterback who's going to try and make the safe play, and I think that might hurt his fantasy production this year.
Yeah, and I didn't think Tyrod Taylor played well. I mean, he went 16.
He was a Bill.
Tyrod.
Yeah,
Tyrod Taylor is good when he uses his legs, but he went 16 for 30, 208 yards, passing yards, and then he was like 6 rushing attempts for 7 yards. So the Chargers did a very good job containing him, not letting him run out of the pocket. So I don't know how long they can stick with Taylor.
I mean, they're another team, I think, that through 6, 7, 8 weeks of the season, if their season's gone to shit, they're going to go to their rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
That That's how I see it. I know a lot of times they don't do that. They said, they need more development. Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes was a guy who sat out a whole year.
Yeah.
Didn't start till the last game of the regular season, his rookie year. But I just don't see the Chargers doing much this year with Tyrod at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it was a win, but it was an ugly win, I thought. I mean, the game was ugly in general.
They're playing the Bengals. We'll see next week when they face the Chiefs.
That will be the test of if Tyrod can actually come to play or not.
Yeah.
So
what about your boy Eckler there? How do you feel?
I mean, I think people are overreacting. I mean, he had 84 rushing yards. They're saying he's a rookie, right? Kelly,
yeah,
UCLA running back. That they're saying that he's gonna get red zone touches for them, goal line touches for them. I mean, I don't think he's much bigger than Eckler. Eckler's a big boy he's small, but he's a heavy boy. So I don't think that I'm not worried about Kelly taking Eckler's chances for touchdowns. I'm more worried about how Eckler only had two receptions, I think, or one reception.
Yeah,
I'm worried about that. Yeah.
PPR format. That's what makes him so valuable.
So I'm kind of worried about that. If Tyrod won't utilize him out for receiving purposes, that's the only thing that worries me. But, I mean, he had 16 carries, so he's going to get touches, and I think he'll have a good week against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So now we go to our favorite game of the day. It was the Cards versus 49ers. Cardinals won 24-20. I had the spread. But no, the Cardinals look good. I mean, we were predicting that. We said that we think the Cardinals are going to surprise people this year.
Yeah, Kyler looked phenomenal.
Yeah, his stat line, 26 for 40. Not
great
too flashy,
completion.
but 230 passing yards. He had a touchdown. He had 91 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, and those rushing yards would have been over 100 if he didn't take knees at the end of the game, which it would have been only the second person over 100 yards this week rushing.
He even those forced penalties that he gets for people hitting after the whistle. I mean, those add up. I mean, 30. I think there was 2 of them where they hit him. I mean, that's 30 yards right there on a drive. So those are crucial. Hopkins with
unbelievable.
I said that Hopkins I have him as number 1 fantasy receiver this year. I mean, 14 receptions with 151 yards against a good 49ers defense.
Defense that took him to the Super Bowl last year.
So Hopkins, I mean, I like that he got 14 receptions, which means he's going to be targeted a lot this year. So watch out for him. I have an interesting stat that I want to tell you guys. First, let's talk about the 49ers. I'm not a big fan of Jimmy. I mean, I have the 49ers missing the playoffs this year. I mean, I just don't think they're that good.
I think that's pretty hot of a take. We kind of discussed that already. Their offense is usually good. They just couldn't get it done in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Kittle was hurt. Mostert was good. He made a huge catch and run for the touchdown.
Yeah.
Jimmy's just not a gunslinger like some other quarterbacks, so they've got to find a different way to score their points.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I just think they're going to be like the Rams. Like the Rams, they made the Super Bowl, they lost, and they missed the playoffs the next year. So I think it's going to be a similar situation there.
Yeah.
So the Hopkins stat. So this is key to Hopkins becoming the number 1 receiver in fantasy. Yeah, so last year he averaged 11.2 yards per reception. The year before, he had 13.7 yards per reception. The year before that, when he was number 1 in fantasy, he had 14.4 yards per reception. So I think what was happening he had 104 catches last year with the Texans. I think they had Fuller, who they kept going with the long ball, and Hopkins was like the short guy, get in, get out sort of thing. So I think Kyler has had a pretty low yards per attempt last year, 6.9. And I think if Hopkins becomes the guy for the long ball, watch out.
I think he'll just become the guy for everything.
Yeah. So, if he becomes the guy, which I think he is the guy, looking at it, he is the guy.
Yeah.
I think, there's no way he finishes outside top 3 this year.
I like that. Mm-hmm. It's exciting. He looks good in the uniform.
He loves playing there. I think he won. I saw the video of him winning MVP for the team there of the game, and I just think he's gonna have a great year.
I like that.
So now our own Drew Brees, bringing the Saints to a victory, 34-23 Saints. Saints look good. I mean, I have them winning the Super Bowl. They just have so many assets. I mean, Michael Thomas didn't even have a good game.
No, he had bad game.
Yeah, I mean, 3 receptions for 17 yards. I mean, that's not like him at all.
No, for a guy who averaged well above 10 catches per game last year, set the record for most receptions in a year, to go out and get 3 receptions. He was hurt. I saw high ankle injury. Thinks he'll be able to play through it. I'm sure that'll hinder his production even more. But yeah, I like the Saints. The Saints defense looked good.
Yeah, the Saints did. They had the pick 6 there.
Yeah, picked him off twice.
Yeah, I think the Saints will do damage this year, especially with Drew. You know, he's closing in on retirement. You know, this is a year where he wants to win. So what do you think about the running back situation with the Saints? I mean, Kamara's now healthy. I thought he looked good receiving-wise. I thought rushing-wise. I didn't even realize this. I mean, 12 carries for 16 yards. That's not good for him.
Not great at all.
That's not acceptable for him either. But he did have, I believe, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So 2 touchdowns. I mean, Latavius Murray had 15 carries, so he actually touched the ball more than him. So I still see value with Latavius Murray. I mean, he looked like the better back yesterday. Obviously, Kamara.
Alvin Kamara, 1 touchdown.
1 touchdown. Okay. So
1 rushing touchdown.
I think we didn't see enough of Kamara to make the assumption of if he's going to be that top-end back. But, I mean, you take away those touchdowns and his fantasy points.
I fucked up again.
What?
He got a rushing and a receiving touchdown.
Oh, God. Okay, so he had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, we were right.
But what do you think? Like, do you think it's too early, or do you think Latavius Murray, like, you know, they ran with him last year. Do you think he is still going to be kind of pushing Kamara's load?
No, I don't think so. I think they're used for different things. Kamara's really good out of the backfield. Murray's a big back as well. I think they'll use him more up the middle, those type of runs.
Yeah.
And he was just pretty successful this game. Only averaged 3.2 yards per carry. Not good at all.
No.
Kamara just had a subpar game for what we're used to him having.
Yeah. And on the Buck side, Mike Evans, I mean,
Stop bitching.
He was complaining all game. He got in a little fight. 1 reception, 2 yards. Like, I can't believe I just said that.
But a touchdown.
A touchdown. He didn't look good. I mean, I have a stat for you.
Let's hear it.
So, I mean, first of all, I think at the end of this year, we're going to start respecting more the Patriots coaches, especially on the defense side. I mean, Brady had the lowest yard per pass attempt last year in the league, 6.6 yards. He had a 3.9% touchdown rate, which was an all-time low for him. I mean, he's not getting better.
No,
so,
he's not. He's only getting older.
The assets grow, but a 6.6 yards per attempt, it doesn't matter really which type of the assets that they have. Like, it doesn't really help them much.
No, I think Godwin and Evans, their fancy production will go down.
Yeah, I mean, Evans last year, his yards per catch was 9.8. Godwin was 11.2. And their ADP got so much higher after the Brady signing. Yeah. But I think, I mean, a lot of people are realizing now, and they just think, you know, they might not have good years. I mean, you can't get better than what you had last year.
Yeah, Jameis just throwing everything, like, deep down the field. I don't think Brady is capable of making those downfield throws as often. He's not as comfortable with it. He doesn't want to turn. The thing about Jameis, he did not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, literally, he would just throw wherever. He'd look up at the screen, squinting, and be like, oh, shit, like, I'm down points. Let's go throw it again. I think that's where they got all their yards from, and that's why they were so successful. And then their production most certainly is going to rapidly decline.
Yeah, I think Brady just can't provide that consistent long ball, and those receivers are going to get hurt from it. I mean, Mike Evans, if he has another bad game, a lot of people are going to be talking about that. I mean, the truth is Brady usually is used to only targeting, really, like, having a guy and targeting him.
Yeah.
And that was Edelman. But I think he has so many guys that are so good that it's no one's going to be, like, amazing on that core, I think.
No, and you can tell that the Bucs aren't as well coached as the Patriots were. when they had that they had a penalty after a touchdown and they kicked off from the 50, and the kicker just put it right up in the air, and the two Bucs players like ran into each other and dropped the ball inbounds still somehow, and they turned it over to the Saints.
Yeah, so a couple just dumb mistakes.
Bonehead.
Yeah, and you could tell Drew knows like that would never happen with the Patriots.
Yeah.
So they got to clean some stuff up. I still think that the Bucs are going to be a good team this year.
You can't count them out.
Yeah,
it's
you can't
too early.
I mean, the Saints are
too much talent.
You play the Saints in your first game, and it's Brady's first game with a new team. Never played a game before with them. I mean, the Saints have been the same squad for a while now. So I think it was just an experienced team against kind of a new formed team.
Yeah.
So I think the Bucs they'll come to play next week. Last game of the day was the Rams and Cowboys. Rams pull it off, 20-17. I like the Rams this year. I mean, I have them taking that wild card. They look good. Goff played well.
Yeah, I think it was upgrade. Kind of tough year last year. This is the type of game that they lose last year.
Yeah.
So it was a good start for them. McVay is a talented coach.
Yeah.
He's going to find a way to get his stars the ball.
Yeah, I mean, you looked at the receiving core. Is Robert Woods a wide receiver one with Cooper Kupp on that roster? He had 6 receptions for 105 yards. Cooper Kupp had a little bit of a down game, 4 receptions, 40 yards. What do you think about that situation?
I think Kupp's the number one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Woods is great. I think Kupp's the number one guy, which is going to put the best defenders on him. They're going to scheme for that, which will get Robert Woods open to make him a very good number 2 receiver.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I like Cooper Kupp. I think he's good. I think he just had a down game. I mean, you're playing a good Cowboys team.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big win for the Rams. I mean, the Cowboys, a lot of people have them winning the Super Bowl this year. Dak had a strong game. That's why he's a top 5 QB in fantasy. I mean,
I think he's worth the money they needed to pay him.
Yeah, he's so consistent. I mean, he needs to bring that Cowboys team though to a successful playoff run this year.
Yeah, or people are going to start losing a little bit of faith.
Yeah. Zeke had a good game.
That stupid fucking tattoo.
The feed me tattoo. I mean,
he's just trying to remember where the food goes.
Yeah, that's one of those you regret when you're older. When you're 70 or 80 and your little grandchild comes in and he goes, "What's with your tattoo, Dad?" And he has to explain the whole story. Or your kid brings like a piece of pizza because it says "feed me" on his stomach at the pool. But no, I thought CeeDee Lamb, 5 receptions, 59 yards. I mean, he could be a shocker too.
Yeah, he's electric.
Mm-hmm.
First game as well. Give him some time. I think he'll be real good.
Yeah. And who's your wide receiver one on the Cowboys? Amari Cooper?
Cooper for sure.
Okay.
I have Gallup on my team.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be good. He got fucked on that pass interference call.
So let's talk about that pass interference call. What do we think?
Jalen Ramsey, known league-wise, one of the best cornerbacks. I think the ref saw him. There was no real push-off. The ref saw him snap his head back, and they just, on merit, they just called that pass interference. Obviously, I didn't think it was.
Yeah, I think the contact was minimal, and you see that contact all the time. Yeah. So I think it was a bad call. But I give the Rams props. I mean, they deserve that win. So they go 1-0, and I think they're primed for a big year.
I like that.
So those were the breakdown of all the games. Let's now talk about predictions for tonight. First game, we got Big Ben's return against the Giants.
I'm excited.
What do we think?
I think the Steelers cover the 6.
Yep.
And I think they win. I'm excited to see Big Ben back, the monster human being. Hope he can sling the rock all over the field. Mm-hmm. And I hope the Steelers win. I kind of like the Steelers this year.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of is not sleeping on the Steelers, but they think that they could really make a run for it. I mean, Juju, he needs to have a bounce back year. He had a bad year, but to his defense, I mean, who do you have throwing to him? No one could throw deep.
Devlin Hodges and Mason Rudolph weren't doing it for him.
Yeah. I mean, Juju's a guy he needs a guy who can throw down the field, a power arm, and Ben is that guy. I don't know how Ben, if he's going to be back into the shape he was before he got injured, but it'll be fun to watch. I mean, football with Ben, it's just
exciting.
Great. It's exciting. I mean, big bad Steelers going at it. The Giants are a team that's like, I feel like people think there might be change, but there's just never change. Kind of like the Jets.
Yeah, they like their head coach. They have a little bit of excitement around them by their own fans, and that's basically it, I guess. Saquon's going to do his thing.
He's going to have
and it all depends on Daniel Jones.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that Steelers defense, they had to be up there, top 3 defenses in the league.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but I think they were good,
for
sure.
I think they were top 3 defenses in the league. Let's hope they can keep it up. I mean, TJ Watt had a massive year, so I'm expecting him to have another good year. So going to the night game, Broncos against the Titans. What do we think?
I think I'm going to sleep for that.
Yeah, probably won't be watching the game.
Way too late of a game.
Yeah,
but I think the Titans are going to win. I think they're going to cover their 3-point favorites on the road as well. I don't like Drew Lock. I had said the stat on an earlier podcast that his 4 wins last year were against 4 of the worst passing defenses in the league. I think he'll get exposed with a good defense, and I think for sure the Titans are going to win.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Lock has a tough first game. I mean, your wide receiver 1 is out.
Yeah. Von Miller's out.
So I think the Titans take it was fun. I think Henry will have a big game. I mean, people are saying they don't think that Henry is going to keep up what he did in playoffs, but I mean, in playoffs, he was the best running back in the NFL.
Yep.
Well, he's a beast. I mean, apparently he's been refining his receiving skills. It'll be interesting if they use him. I mean, him as a goal line guy. I mean, he's a big guy for a running back.
Yep.
So I think that could be a big asset to the Titans if he can get better at that.
It's exciting to have football back.
Yeah, so football's back. We're going to be posting a lot of content on all social pages.
Yep. Follow us. Like this.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Content coming out every week. Follow us on Twitter. Twitter's been active.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next Thursday.
Let us cook. Yeah, let Russ cook. Russell Wilson.
Let him cook some eggs. Bacon.